Fairhope girls this year?
Fairhope girls, we're going to try to start off and build for where we left off last year. We lost three of our starters and one that was a pretty good rebounder and scorer for us. We hope to fill her shoes with some of our upcoming probably sophomores, but we got a good junior group as well. We got a small senior class with only two players this year, two girls. But with those two, we got some leadership. They work hard and go-getters. Got one individual that probably would be a good football player, to be honest with you. She'll run through the wall for you. So she's a good player. Julia Biles. She was the one last year at the beginning of the season. She hit a ball and broke her collarbone. So she was out for about 6 or 8 weeks of the season last year.
I know over the summer I saw a new face on your team when you played at the bottom day. And man, y'all look good. Talk a bit about the chemistry you had playing chemistry over the summer, with the girls.
Yeah, you saw us at Baldwin County at those three. I guess it was three games. We actually had a pretty good day that day. We looked very good that day. We do have a new freshman. I'm assuming that's the one that you're referring to, Bella. She's also a softball player, but yeah, she's a freshman that I've already moved up to varsity. Will be a point guard for us, and we'll expect a lot from her. She can see the floor very well. She can pass the ball. She can shoot it. She can score it. So she's going to be a big impact for us, from the get-go as a freshman.
Being in 7A, I know a lot of people not accustomed to Fairhope, and, being one of the top teams, but over the summer I saw you beat Davidson and a couple of the upper echelon teams. Does that, summer play affect what your expectations for the season?
It's always good to be successful during the summer. I mean, and to build on any confidence and success that you have is always good. Do I bank on that? No, I'm not going to bank on it. But I'm glad to see that the kids can play together. And in summer, it's not I'm playing my top 5 and just pulling 6, 7, and 8. We're playing all 13, 14 of them. And there's really no set substitution during the summer. I'm just kind of trying to figure out for myself who's playing well together and what's going on. So, that day playing Davidson or any of the other ones in Baldwin County, it's just, for me, just trying to figure out my kids as well, because it's a new team. And we can take from what we did last year, but, we've got a couple new faces, 3 or 4 new faces, and lost 3 or 4. So, it's a brand new year, and it's just us trying to figure out each other.
Coach, two-part question. First part, what kind of toughness do you have now with your new team, with new players coming? Do you still have some of your older players from last season?
Well, I would like to say that I try to preach toughness as much as I can. That probably my number one thing when we talk about expectation is my kids are going to play hard. They're going to go hard, and we're going to get after it. And we have a pretty tough preseason, which kind of I do it not only for physical toughness but some mental toughness as well, because some of those new ones coming in, they're not quite ready for that conditioning because they're coming from middle school. They're not used to it. So here we are running as much as we are and lifting as much as we are, and it helps them obviously physically, but a lot of times those younger ones, they hit that wall and they don't know how to get through it. So we preach and preach. You got to get through that wall and got to keep playing hard and have a mental toughness, not just a physical toughness as well.
Second part, who are your leaders on your team, leadership?
Like I said earlier, I do have a good leadership with my senior, too, with Julia Biles and May McDuff. But, a lot of my freshmen that came in last year, I had 4 freshmen that played a lot for me last year. So as sophomores, they're going to be my core group. Now, I do have 5 juniors that will play some minutes and give us some good time. But as far as playmakers and things like that, it's probably, and you hate to say it this early, but yeah, it's probably going to come from my sophomore group with like Elise Hughes. She's a guard that is really stepping out and really loves the game and loves basketball and is in the gym a lot. Probably the biggest thing for me, and not a negative thing for, you know, our school, but those kids that play for me that are my top players are also volleyball players as well. So right now, I don't have them. They're in volleyball. So, you know, that first 2 or 3 weeks of our season, we're trying to get our volleyball players in shape, basketball shape, and get them in with the rest of the group that we've had.
Is it something in the water over at Baldwin County? Because Baldwin County girls coach, they got young athletes also that are just like you are just stepping up big time. I mean, because that's just astounding that kids so young are being, you know, relied upon from you guys. So.
It's a good thing to know that you have that in your future, but you know you have to take your bumps along the way when you know you're relying on some younger kids.
The growth of girls basketball that you've seen, I know you being a former player yourself, collegiately, and having an opportunity to coach many years now, how have you seen the growth of girls basketball through the years come about?
It's grown dramatically. I mean, the kids are, you know, going back to when I played, I mean, you want to date me, I've been coaching for many years. At age, when I was their age, we didn't put, I mean, don't get me wrong, we practiced and we did things, but what you put into the game now is completely different. The off seasons are different, we train different, we do different. You know, with the volleyball players that I was speaking about, you know, these kids are playing, you know, in the summer, they'll do basketball in the morning and volleyball in the afternoon, and then they'll go to their travel, you know, volleyball and travel basketball, and they're doing everything. Like, it's jam-packed with everything that they do. And these kids are trying to excel in 1 or 2 sports, both of them. And some of my kids, they're trying to decide now, do I want to play college basketball or do I want to play college volleyball? And they're in the middle here that they're athletically, they're good enough to play both, and what do? And sometimes we lose them as basketball coaches, and sometimes as volleyball coaches, they lose them as well. But it's growing because those kids have to focus a little bit more on that sport sometimes to get to the level that they need to be at to play, you know, in college.
Being at Fairhope, I know you was at Clark County and you went to the state championship game. Give me, you know, a time frame. Do you think you were on that schedule that you was on at Clark County for us being one of the top teams in the state?
To be honest with you, I didn't know I was on that schedule in Clark County. You know, it was just, we were just going game by game. And then, you know, in that year, it was just like, wow, we put it together. And it, you know, we played some really tough teams and ended up beating some really tough teams and getting to that state championship team. And I think then it was just more, those kids just kind of pulled together and made it work. And I think with any program, that's kind of the way it works. You kind of prepare for it and hope for it, and hopefully your kids will mesh. Do I think I have the athletes that could possibly get there? Yeah, possibly. If we can get them to mesh and get them to play the way that they can and develop the way that they can.
All right, Coach, thank you.